The sun was just starting to rise over the rugged American wilderness, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. You could feel that sharp, crisp bite of early morning air, the kind that makes every breath feel alive. Today wasn't just any morning. It marked the official start of this year's wild boar eradication campaign across the United States. 4 seasoned hunters, this was more than a mission. It was a challenge against one of the most destructive and cunning animals roaming America's wild lands. When we arrived at our meetup point, the stillness of the mountains was broken by movement in the distance. A herd of wild boars, powerful, stubborn, and unpredictable, was grazing along the slopes. The adrenaline hit instantly. Once the gear was ready and scopes aligned, the silence gave way to the echo of rifles cutting through the cool air. From this distance, landing a clean shot was harder than you might think, but after years of experience tracking and hunting these beasts, every heartbeat and every breath came with purpose. At this point, we can practically predict what a wild boar will do next. Still, no matter how skilled you are, your rifle's accuracy and rate of fire can make or break the moment. I was carrying my trusted Ruger American rifle with an 8x scope, chambered in .308 Winchester. Lightweight, precise, and built for moments just like this. If you're a hunter, you know the feeling when the rifle becomes an extension of your instincts. What's your go-to rifle? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what weapon you trust most when it counts. Our first major encounter came fast. A herd of 14 wild boars, the same group that had recently devastated farmland across Texas and Florida, was on the move. They'd caused millions of dollars in damage, ripping through crops and tearing apart irrigation systems. Local farmers had petitioned the authorities to act fast. Today we were their answer. And yes, every hunter knows that when you're tracking an animal like this, the goal isn't just the thrill. It's about protecting communities, preserving balance, and of course harvesting meat that won't go to waste. As we repositioned for a better line of sight, the real test arrived. About 190 feet away, I spotted a massive male, easily around 247 kilograms. His thick shoulders and tusks were built like armor. I steadied my breathing, lined up my scope, and squeezed the trigger. The shot echoed like thunder, hitting perfectly where the front leg meets the chest. A clean, ethical kill. My buddy called it immediately, "That one shattered the lungs clean." Walking over to inspect the boar, I could see the precision of the hit. It's moments like these that remind you why you train, why you respect the hunt, and why every second in the wild counts. Then came the real shocker. While we were resting near a mountain ridge, the bushes below began to stir. Out stepped what looked like a tank on legs, a 291-kilogram female boar, one of the biggest I've ever seen. We froze, watching her massive frame move silently through the brush. When the timing felt right, we moved in unison. My team and I raised our rifles. The valley filled with the crack of gunfire. Within seconds, the boar went down. That's when we spotted 2 more females standing side by side further down the ridge. They'd likely escaped earlier chaos and thought they were hidden deep in the brush. But our hunting dogs had already caught their scent. With pinpoint precision, they sprinted toward the source, barking wildly as they closed in. The rustle of leaves gave away their location. I quickly locked onto the bigger one, but she bolted just as I squeezed the trigger and the shot missed. It happens even to the most experienced among us. Every hunt carries its surprises and lessons. As the day stretched on, the golden light of sunset began to fall over the mountains, but our work was far from done. We were determined to clear every wild boar from this zone before the night settled in. Every second mattered. Scanning the valley below, we spotted movement. Another herd pushing through the underbrush, unaware that we were closing in from above. Using the terrain to our advantage, we crept silently into position, rifles raised, hearts pounding in rhythm with every cautious step. The trick in moments like this is patience. When the herd finally broke cover, crossing a wide open field, everything seemed to slow down. You could almost feel the silence just before the chaos. Then, crack, crack, crack. A synchronized volley of shots filled the air. Years of hunting discipline had taught us to move, shoot, and reload without wasting a breath. It wasn't just hunting anymore. It was art, precision, and instinct rolled into one. If you've ever been out in the wild and spotted a lone boar moving down a mountain slope, don't rush the shot. That's a common mistake. Wild boars almost never travel alone. Where there's one, there's a dozen more nearby. Be patient, scan your surroundings, and wait for the rest of the herd to show themselves. That patience can turn one good shot into an entire successful hunt. As we regrouped just when we thought the day was over, our dogs went wild again. Their barking echoed through the valley, sharp, intense, and urgent. Something was out there. We moved toward a thick patch of brush, weapons at the ready, each of us feeling that electric buzz of adrenaline that only hunters truly understand. The forest seemed to hold its breath. We couldn't see what was hiding, but we could feel it. That's when instinct took over. I aimed into the brush and fired. For a split second, the world went silent again. Then, crashing through the leaves, a massive wild boar rolled out, hit directly. Dust, leaves, and the smell of gunpowder filled the air. The tension broke into quiet satisfaction as we approached our final catch of the day. It wasn't about numbers anymore, it was about skill, teamwork, and respect for the process. Every successful hunt carries its own sense of achievement, not from the kill itself but from the discipline, precision, and connection to nature that it takes to make it happen. That's the beauty and thrill of wild boar hunting across America. It's an ancient dance between man and beast, played out in forests, farmlands, and open plains. Each hunt teaches patience, courage, and respect for the wild. If you've ever experienced that rush, that moment where everything comes down to one breath and one steady trigger pull, you know what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, stick around. Subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comments, and check out our other wild boar hunts right here. Because in this world, every hunt tells a story, and every story reminds us why we keep coming back to the wild.